82% of adult Americans start their morning with a cup of aromatic and invigorating drink, coffee. Without it, it's hard to wake up, concentrate on business, and lead an active lifestyle. And we do not even think how safe this drink is and what effect it has on the body. You may have heard a lot of terrible stories about coffee. Some people say that it causes heart attacks and strokes, provokes cancer cell multiplication, stimulates the accumulation of subcutaneous fat, and causes many other diseases. But is it true? Are there scientific evidence for this? And what are the actual harms of coffee? Let's figure this out. But before we move on, make sure to subscribe to the channel to watch the new episodes in big progress. We're doing our best to create interesting content for you. Where did the idea of drinking coffee in the morning come from? According to an old legend, a shepherd once noticed that when his goats chewed berries and leaves from the bush, they began to run actively around the field and then did not sleep at night. And there were simply no other reasons for this phenomenon. This is how people guessed that coffee has a tonic effect. Initially, people used it not for drinking, but for food. The beans were fried with cheese or cottage cheese, and then small balls were made of the gruel. The invigorating effect of coffee is caused by its high content of caffeine, a psychostimulating agent that for some time after ingestion affects the human nervous system. After consuming caffeine, a person may feel vigor and tone for 1 to 2 hours, after which these sensations will change for irritability, fatigue, and bad mood. Excess coffee consumption can lead to burnout, chronic fatigue, constant stress, and depression. Coffee can even cause a kind of addiction. If you drink it too often, sooner or later your body simply won't be able to function properly without it. Why do people drink coffee more and more often, turning the uncontrolled consumption of caffeine into a kind of religious cult? Over time, the body gets used to the effect of this drink, and the person trying to achieve the same effect from a cup of coffee as before begins to consume more and more of it. The main secret of coffee is that it doesn't give the body energy from somewhere outside. It provokes the body to use its hidden reserves set aside for a rainy day. Therefore, after several hours of vigorous activity, the body will be immersed in apathy and powerlessness. If an office worker drinks several cups of coffee early in the morning, then after lunch they won't be able to work efficiently. So high performance with caffeine is just an illusion caused by uneven waste of energy. The harm from coffee is in the fact that actually it just lowers the performance of the body. Yes, for a while it increases productivity, but in general during the day, your effectiveness will decrease greatly if you abuse caffeine. That's why it should not be used uncontrollably. Scientists have proven several facts of harm of black coffee to the body, and you definitely should know about them. A short burst of energy always leads to a decrease in working capacity within a few hours after the last cup. Caffeine causes severe stress in the body, and as a result, digestion suffers. Coffee can cause addiction and even something like withdrawal in case of abrupt interruption of drinking. In addition, cancer, water imbalance, heart and vascular diseases can be noted as the possible consequences of coffee abuse. Why? Let's figure this out. First of all, blood vessels. A cup of coffee increases the frequency of contraction of their walls, which can lead to serious diseases in the long term. Even 100 milliliters of coffee increase the pressure in the vessels by 10 units. At certain age or with some diseases, such an increase in pressure can be very harmful. International cancer centers that study the causes of various diseases classify caffeine as a group 3 carcinogen. They've proved that coffee can trigger cancerous cell division because when the beans are roasted, a carcinogen called acrylamide is formed. The harder the beans are roasted, the more of this substance you will consume with a cup of coffee. This is why in the United States of America, where many people are addicted to caffeine, this drink is the #1 source of acrylamide, and the experts are already sounding the alarm. It's important to remember that coffee disturbs the water balance in your body. This has been proven by many studies all around the world. Coffee is a powerful diuretic that helps fluid pass out of the body. Sometimes doctors prescribe coffee on purpose to increase the elimination of fluid. But for a healthy person, this effect of coffee is extremely negative, especially during summer heat. The diuretic effect of this drink is also necessary to consider. Coffee does not replenish fluid balance. So if you want to quench your thirst with a cup of coffee, then you're simply self-deceiving. What's more, coffee can be a major cause of dehydration. and a lack of water can cause drying of mucous membranes, weakening of immunity, and increased incidence of colds and viral diseases. In addition, dryness of the mucous membranes can lead to such unpleasant symptoms as dry eyes, swallowing pain, and bad breath. Also, coffee is harmful for the musculoskeletal system. Caffeine causes the decrease of the level of calcium in the body, and at an old age, bones and cartilage become very fragile. That's why it's not recommended to drink coffee in adolescence and pregnancy. Also, coffee has a negative effect on the digestive process. It stimulates the formation of hydrochloric acids in the stomach that take part in the food digestion. The excess of these acids leads to flatulence, bloating, heartburn, ulcers, and gastritis. Coffee has a laxative effect, as it speeds up the processing of food in the intestines, which leads to incomplete absorption of nutrients in the digestive tract. It eliminates the benefits of some foods, as great amounts of microelements and minerals just leave the body. So we figured out that coffee is harmful for the body, and it's proven by the best research centers in the world. Everyone should think how much coffee to drink, or is it so necessary to drink it at all? Coffee raises blood pressure and increases the risk of cardiovascular diseases, as it tones the blood vessels and makes the body work on the top of its capacity. Those who abuse coffee are prone to high cholesterol. Coffee is on the list of drinks that have carcinogenic effect on the body. It's a strong diuretic that disrupts the water balance in the body. It reduces the level of calcium in the body. Fluid deficiency weakens immunity and makes one prone to colds. Coffee negatively affects the digestive processes. Can instant and decaffeinated coffee be harmful? Many people enjoy drinking coffee, but they want to limit their caffeine intake for personal preferences or for health reasons. For these people, decaf coffee is an excellent alternative. Decaf coffee is just like regular coffee, except the caffeine has been removed. It's coffee from coffee beans that have had at least 97% of their caffeine removed. There are many ways to remove caffeine from coffee beans. Most of them include water, organic solvents, or carbon dioxide. Coffee beans are washed in the solvent until the caffeine has been extracted from them. Then the solvent is removed. Caffeine can also be removed using carbon dioxide or charcoal filter, a method known as the Swiss water process. The beans are decaffeinated before they're roasted and ground. The nutritional value of decaf coffee should be almost identical to regular coffee, apart from the caffeine content. However, the taste and smell may become a little milder, and the color may change depending on the method used. This can make decaf coffee more pleasing to those who are sensitive to the bitter taste and smell of regular coffee. People who are very sensitive to caffeine may want to limit their intake of regular coffee or switch over to decaf or tea. Those with certain medical conditions may also require caffeine-restricted diets. This includes people who are taking prescription medications that can interact with caffeine. Additionally, pregnant and breastfeeding women are advised to switch to decaf. Children, teenagers, and individuals diagnosed with anxiety or who have trouble sleeping are advised to do so as well. Instant drinks are another type of coffee. How is it produced? Common coffee beans are strongly brewed, and the resulting beverage is dried into powder or granules. Instant coffee is easier to transport, and it retains flavor for much longer. It's important to remember that most often for the production of instant coffee, low-quality beans are used, therefore this coffee is more harmful. Also remember that the invigorating effect of instant coffee is much weaker than that of brewed one, and the content of theobromine in such coffee is much higher. This substance does not provide the desired invigorating effect, but on the contrary, makes a person sleepy. You can assume that if there's no invigorating effect, then there's no harm. Well, no. Theobromine has the same harmful properties as caffeine, except for tonic. How does coffee affect the woman body? Coffee is especially dangerous for pregnant women. As we already said, coffee reduces the level of calcium, which is very important for the formation of the baby's skeleton. Caffeine passes through the placenta, and this can result in a variety of negative consequences for the baby. Calcium is washed out of the mother's body, which affects the formation of bone structures and teeth in the unborn child. The child has an increased heart rate. The quality of blood circulation in the womb decreases, which can cause anemia. The child will not receive enough oxygen for the development of the brain and other body systems. It increases the risk of premature birth and the likelihood of infection in the child. The baby's development in the womb is slowing down, and so low birth weight is likely. The baby may be born with chronic heart or vascular disease. Also remember that any increase of pressure and lack of fluid in the mother's body will negatively affect the health of the unborn baby. How does coffee harm men? It was proven scientifically that coffee is a powerful aphrodisiac that has a positive effect on sexual potency, but its abuse can lead to negative consequences. The harm of the drink comes from the content of plant substances that are similar to female estrogens, which suppress the hormone testosterone. With age, men usually begin to find the first signs and symptoms of heart and vascular diseases in themselves, so drinking coffee at an old age is not recommended. The walls of arteries and veins are no longer elastic, they become fragile and may be damaged by the tonic effect of coffee, which will lead to disastrous consequences or even death. So, is it possible to give up coffee? People say that coffee is not like cigarettes or drugs, so you can stop drinking it by yourself. All you need is to set a goal and to take steps to achieve it. If you get on this path, make sure to follow a number of rules. Instead of trying to end your coffee habit all at once, consider cutting back over the course of a few weeks. For the first week, only drink coffee before 5 p.m. The next week, stop drinking coffee after 2 p.m. After a few weeks, you'll be down to 1 cup of coffee in the morning, which is way more manageable than 4 or 5 cups spread throughout the day. Switching to tea can really help take the sting off quitting coffee. Part of it is psychological. When you're drinking a hot cup of tea in the morning instead of a fresh mug of coffee, you're still drinking something hot, and that will make you feel like you're not totally giving up on your daily habit. Brewing a pot of hot tea instead of a carafe of coffee will perfectly fill this gap in your morning routine. Try to replace drinking coffee with some other routine. Part of the reason some people drink so much coffee is because it's become an unconscious part of their everyday life. Get enough sleep. In most cases, a lack of energy is caused not by lack of coffee, but by lack of sleep. Go to bed earlier, do exercises or go jogging in the morning. This is the best stimulant. To sum it up, we can say that there are a lot of myths about benefits and harms of coffee, and most of them are pure truth. This drink negatively affects the work of the central nervous system. It provokes diseases and malfunctions of blood vessels and the heart. It is strictly contraindicated for pregnant women and elderly people. But the worst fact is that coffee causes addiction, and its consumption can easily become uncontrolled. Coffee addiction is so strong that it causes the withdrawal syndrome when you try to give it up. That is why we recommend replacing this external psychostimulant with beneficial and healthy alternatives, like fresh juices, plain water, as well as physical exercises and jogging. That's all we wanted to tell you today. On this channel, you will find videos about the benefits of different foods, about diseases and effective methods of their treatment, as well as interesting information about housekeeping and gardening. So make sure to subscribe to Big Progress and ring the bell. Click the like button under the video and share it with your family and friends. See you soon!